So Vincon is the small video game convention held in Loveland, Colorado every October, and this is actually the second time that I went there. It's a small convention. It's not nearly as big as a lot of the ones you see on YouTube, but it's still a video game convention, still a nerd's paradise, so I had to go and check it out again. And I went along with Dubious from DubiousGamingOnline, who is trying to downsize his collection drastically. So Dubious brought a lot of stuff to sell, and we actually didn't get there until the afternoon, right before the Classic Gamers of Colorado Facebook group was setting up a swap meet there on day one. So Dubious and I got a little dubious before we went inside. And we went straight for the swap area where the Classic Gamers of Colorado swap meet was going down, where anyone could swap and trade and sell. So we were all about that. There were so many people at the swap, we really didn't know what was going on, where to set up. So we actually ended up having to make a makeshift table out of just some stray chairs that we found lying around, and it actually worked out pretty well.
That was the Nintendo Power promo VHS.
That's what I saw. That's what caught my attention. I was like, ooh.
Actually, I have the other ones too.
How much?
For these? I don't know what they're worth. I mean, like 10 for all three if it's like that.
Now, like usual, I don't have a lot of money to be spending at a convention, so I was strictly looking for stuff that I was really wanting to add to my collection. So I immediately hit the tables of the swap once Dubious was all set up, and I came across a lot of great stuff. Every time I've gone to one of these swaps, I have always seen lots of really good stuff. So I actually spied Zexy's NES game that I have had my eye on for quite a while now, and the guy selling it also had a copy of Rescue Rangers. So after checking out the floor, the best deal I was going to get on either of those games was from this guy's table, so I offered him $18 for both, and he agreed.
That's awesome. So where did you get that shirt at?
I was telling these guys, like, there's this company, I'm trying to remember what they're called, but they kept advertising me on Facebook, and I finally bit, and I bought like 5 of them. There's this one, they have a whole like set of awesome, weird Nintendo shirts.
Yeah, the Metal Gear one especially.
Yeah, dude, no, it's great. And I got like a Castlevania one, and I have a TNC Surf and Skate, if you know that game.
Yeah,
NES.
yeah.
Wait a minute, I can show you the Neckbreaker tees. Neckbreaker tees.
All right, cool.
Check them out.
What are you fixing there? Famicom?
Yeah, we're sure as hell gonna find out. Probably not though, we'll see.
Yeah.
There were more people at Vincon this year, so that was pretty cool. And I saw a lot of the same vendors that were there from last year, and just checking out their inventory, lots of cool stuff. And also the Games Ahoy table, who actually they're the ones who set up the Vincon. They have 2 shops in Loveland, and I actually visited their shop with Dubious with a camera earlier in the summer. I just haven't made a video with the footage yet, so keep an eye out for that. But they're the ones who host the event, put it all together, so that was pretty cool. But there's other cool stores that sponsor the event as well, such as Level 7 Games, where I ran into John, the owner.
Hey, what's up, man?
Just chilling, bro. Just slanging some shirts and some games. Did you go check out the swap meet already?
Yeah, man.
How crazy was that?
It's pretty crazy.
So not only were there games, but there was a lot of other cool stuff like perler art. I'm really digging the perler art, and I was eyeing this stuff, but honestly, most of it was Mario stuff, and I'm not really that big into Mario. I would prefer like Castlevania or Contra or, you know, something Ninja Gaiden, something like that, perler art like that. I did spy a Yoshi one that I was thinking about getting for my nephew, but I ended up passing on it and passed on all the Perler art. It was just too much Mario for me.
What's up?
It's supposed to be exciting, but I'm not. There's exciting.
This guy had a Nintendo 64 disc drive, which I personally have never seen in my life, and it was going for a pretty hefty price, and it wasn't in working condition either.
So, I mean, do you have games for it to display?
It has a discrete error right now, but it's still 800 because it's got the box and inserts.
Oh man!
I do have discs for it, just they won't play them.
Oh, okay.
And 64 floppies.
But it was a really cool item to see. I mean, that's something you don't see every day, so that was pretty cool. I'm wondering if the guy sold it. I'm guessing that he didn't. And of course, if you're gonna have a video game convention, there's gonna be a bunch of nerds dressed up in costumes. So yes, they did have a cosplay contest, and that was pretty cool. Some people went pretty crazy with their costumes and had some pretty elaborate get-ups going.
Good job, Jake.
So Dubious had a couple eyeing the Xenosaga trilogy on the PS2, or what? I'm not too familiar with those games. But Dubious had 3 of them, and there was a couple who was interested in buying all 3. And after they looked around, it was obvious that they were going to get a good deal through Dubious, so they went ahead and picked it up.
There you are.
Thank you.
Now, Dubious wasn't actively looking for anything. He was really just wanting to downsize his collection. But one guy had an original Mega Man 1 for the NES, and I guess Dubious has some nostalgia for it, so he ended up making a trade.
You know, I used to rent it like as a kid, and like I thought it was good, but the first one I ever played was Mega Man 3. And then I got really into Mega Man 2, and then going back to Mega Man 1 after that, it's like, it's kind of hard.
Still pretty good, man. It's got great music.
It does have great music.
So day 1 of Vincon, without really checking out most of the events, mainly just sticking with the swap, was pretty awesome. I mean, I got some good stuff. I also picked up Asterix on the Sega Genesis, got a really good deal on that. And I also got Secret of Evermore, a game I have never played, and just from capturing the little bit of footage for this video, it seems really cool, so I'm looking forward to diving into that one. So Dubious and I had tickets for day 2 as well, so we headed back to Denver and we went ahead, got some alcohol, got something to smoke, did some barbecuing, and we ended up playing through Mega Man 1. I love Mega Man. I grew up with the game, so I'm pretty good at it. So we took turns just playing through Mega Man and went through and beat it. And then Dubious is really familiar with Rescue Rangers, and I had played it maybe once or twice in my entire life. So we played a little bit of 2-player of that. I died pretty quickly, but Dubious went through and finished the game, went through the whole game, so that was pretty cool. We were partying pretty good, but we didn't want to be too hungover for the next day. Actually weren't too bad. I mean, yeah, I could feel a lot better, but, you know, I didn't want to be dead, so that was something. So for day 2 of Vincon, we got there much earlier so we could actually enjoy the sights and check everything out and just see what everything's all about. Now, the swap wasn't going to start till 3:30 in the afternoon, so we had plenty of time. We got there at like noon or so. We had plenty of time to check everything out, and there was a lot to see. So what seems to be a common theme from what I've seen at other video game conventions on YouTube is that they often set up pretty much like every console, or almost every console, classic console, with a few games to test out, and I always like to check this stuff out. There's a lot of cool stuff, and I actually played a little bit of Robotron on the Atari 5200 dual stick. That was pretty cool. And of course, being a video game convention, you also have to have musical acts playing covers of your favorite video games, 80s cartoons, etc. So that was pretty nifty. I can't even recall the last time I saw a TurboGrafx Express.
Hey, I saw this on a TV show. This looked like a Game Boy.
Yep, but it's in color, and you can even watch TV on it.
Yeah, the two. Well, I can't really now because.
That's
It's a
true.
sample podcast.
Oh, and will you look at that? We ran into the bargain bin hobo, and he was on the hunt for some Nintendo 64 stuff.
Nice, see how much that set you back.
I got it. Wait, what? It was.
$50, not bad.
Actually, it was 45. That was actually 15 too.
Oh.
Yeah, they were separate, but hey, I got them all. Also, got this sweet controller for $5. It's a turbo button, and this was included for free with the N64.
Cool, man.
And also, I've got a few extra others as well. We've had a sweet haul so far. Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh, that's a good one.
007 Worlds Not Enough, and GoldenEye.
Nice, dude.
And also these two as well.
So, ran into another fellow YouTuber here. What's your channel?
My channel's called Fighting With My Friends, and it's just me and my friends playing video games. So yeah, there you go.
Hell yeah, so check it out. I'll have a link in the description below. So,
Thanks, guys.
now there was a lot of time to kill before the Denver Retro Gamers swap meet started at 3:30. There were a bunch of games and stuff. When you buy your tickets and you come into the Vincon, you get you get raffle tickets, you get like these tokens or pogs, I don't know, whatever they were, which you basically trade to play games. And there was a really cool game called Pokey Pitch, where you throw a Pokeball at some Pikachu plushies and you have to knock them completely off the table in order to win. And it's a lot harder than it looks. Now, Dubious and I learned our lesson from the day before when we did the swap, because he had about 4 bins filled with games and we actually had to carry them in from the parking lot. It was quite a walk to be carrying a bunch of heavy stuff like that. And we learned our lesson, so we made sure to bring a cart for day 2, and oh man, it was so much easier getting everything inside. The Denver Retro Gamers swap meet was freaking bumping. It was awesome. Now, I've swapped with these guys several times before, so a lot of familiar faces, a lot of cool guys, and a lot of haggling. Like, this group is willing to work with you on haggling. It is just insane, like the deals you can get through the swap meets through this Denver Retro Gamers group. So I pretty much had spent everything that I had. I only had a little bit of money left before I came across a Gradius Game Boy game, Gradius Interstellar Assault, which I never see, and it's one of the few Gradius games that I need to complete my Gradius collection. Now, this was a game that I needed, and I was short, and I couldn't believe my luck, and I was like, damn it, had I seen this game earlier, I wouldn't have picked up a few of these other games. I was pretty bummed, but I thought, you know, it doesn't hurt to ask the guy selling it if he would hook me up. So I went ahead and did it, and the guy who's selling it, this guy Seth from the Denver Retro Gamers Group, real nice dude, he actually ended up hooking me up with a really good price on this game. Now, I'm not going to say what he gave me the game for because it's a ridiculously great price, and I'm extremely grateful that he hooked me up with it because it actually was the final game that I needed to complete my Gradius collection. So pretty stoked about that. So a big shout out to Seth. He really hooked me up on that Gradius game. He didn't have to, but he was being a cool dude and he let me have it for a great price, and I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man. But I also picked up a few other goodies on day 2, such as Blast Corps for the N64. I've never actually played this game, but I've heard lots of great things for it. So I got it for a really good price, so I went ahead and snagged that one up. And I remember renting Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle for the NES back when I was a kid, and I really liked it, but man, I never come across that game. So when I came across the Game Boy version, I was pretty interested, and when I offered the guy $2 and he said, sure, I snagged it. And because I was on such a Mega Man high from playing through Mega Man 1 with Dubious the night before, I picked up this Gutsman. It's not really a toy, it's not a figure, I don't know what you would call it. It looks more like artwork to me. And I got this at a really good price too, so that was pretty awesome. Now, I'm not the only one that got some cool stuff. Check out what Lindsay from the Denver Retro Gamers got. So yeah, overall, Vincon 2019 was a blast. I had a lot of fun, and you'd think that 2 days might be too much for something so small, but it really wasn't. The 2 different swap meets were definitely the highlight. I just found that there were a lot better selection of games at a lot better prices from the swappers than from the actual vendors, so I honestly didn't buy too much from the vendors, but the swap meets, both of them, that's where it was at. And Dubious made a killing too, man. He sold so much stuff. He downsized his collection so much and just hooked up so many people with great prices. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, but pretty tiring considering that Dubious and I partied the night before. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep. I was done, and just going home and watching some football was all I cared to do. But yeah, a lot of fun. Definitely plan on going next year. So until the next convention or swap, I will catch you guys later.